Oh,
Oops.
how the hell do you do it?
I know.
I admire. I tell you all the time. I admire you. I don't envy you.
Oh, thanks.
This is another one of those times. Cause
I'm out of practice.
Are you aware you'll do this 41 times next year?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, are you sure?
I am. Yeah, when you get into it, you're like, oh, it kind of all just blends together, and then you get this like outlier in Summer League where you're not back to your bed until midnight, and that alarm comes fast.
So fast. The wife looked at me as I walk into the house. We make eye contact. I fall face first into the floor. And I'm just like, leave me here. This is where I sleep now. And she pats me on my head. She says, you know what? You look tired. Don't ride the bus tomorrow. Get you an extra hour of sleep. As she steps over me and goes and gets in the bed. That's just exhausting. It's exhausting.
It's so unfair. I love sleep. I value sleep.
Sleep is...
I don't sleep. I miss sleep.
Sleep is my second favorite thing about being alive.
Oh, wow.
I think it's easily top 5. I'm pretty sure it's top 3. And the only thing I can think right now definitively that I like more than sleep is vittles. It's food.
Yeah. I think you would put food first. I'd probably
food is one.
Yeah.
Nothing like a good old-fashioned chicken nugget. Chili cheese dog. Oh, meat lovers pizza. Oh, it's great.
When I was in Antigua, I had pepperoni pizza 4 days in a row.
Damn right you did.
The greatest pepperoni pizza I may have ever had. I swear, it was like the Goofy movie pizza.
Oh.
It was like the Goofy movie pizza in Antigua, and it was delightful.
With the cheese and everything?
Pull was perfect. But my cheese pull on day 1 was so good. I was chasing the day 1 cheese pull the next 4 days. It was never as good as the first one, but it was still pretty good.
But was the pizza good?
Yeah, it was just a great basic pepperoni pizza.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that sounds so delicioso. Oh my goodness. When I did a cruise, and cruises are all inclusive. They had the what's my man's name? Guy Flame shirt. He had a burger bar, and I ate multiple burgers every single day I was on that 7-day cruise. It was great.
That doesn't surprise me. What's up, everybody? It is Tuesday, July 8th. It is going to be a good day. Jessica Benson with you from Salt Lake City. CJ Hurt back in the Grind City Media Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. Coming up on today's show, quite the finish for the Memphis Grizzlies in a late night Summer League loss to Utah Jazz last night. D.B. Jackson was awesome. Some good stuff from Cam Spencer. We'll get into it all. Mike Wallace will join us. We'll talk to him about the Grizzlies Summer League efforts so far. He's going to join up with the team in Las Vegas. We'll also chat with him about other storylines around the NBA. Had some big Memphis Tigers basketball scheduling news yesterday. We'll go through some WNBA news and notes. We'll do a little TV Tuesday. My favorite show of all time is coming back. We'll get into it all. It's a Tuesday. You know what we say. It was a 3. It was a 3.
The boys' mind.
You ready? I've been ready. What are we waiting for?
The boy is mine.
Are you ready?
Creed. By overwhelming demand, the Summer of '99 tour returns. July 27th, FedEx Forum. With very special guest, Daughtry. And Mammoth. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss Creed with Daughtry and Mammoth. The Summer of '99 tour.
1, 2, 3. Ready, go.
Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item, whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
These are the Jordan 1, the crystals. These are the shoe that retails for $1,000. Oh, extra crystals. So if your crystals fall off, if your crystals fall off, actually these are the black crystals because they have. So the shoe has black crystals on there as well too. So you get an extra package of black crystals.
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
The Tigers are going to play in November in the Bahamas, the Baha Mar tournament, and the other teams expected to be there. Purdue, Wake Forest, and possibly Texas Tech. So Texas Tech's going to be good. Purdue's going to be good. If you don't have a roster that puts you in that same conversation, that could be a tough trip to the Bahamas.
Yep. The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Feels great to feel the sunshine. Gotta own the day like it's all mine. Just got paid in his own time. Been working hard, I've been on the grind. I deserve this feeling, having my way. I've been on this healing. This is my day. The sun's out, let's have a little fun now. I wanna let it all out. That's what it's all about. Cause I deserve this feeling, having my way. I deserve this healing. This is my day.
Grind City Media presents The Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt. Live from the Grind City Media Studios on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. I hope your week is off to a wonderful start. Late night here in Salt Lake City as the Grizzlies' second Summer League game here against the Utah Jazz went 8 trillion hours. Luckily, I know CJ Hurt watched every second of it because he was part of our fantastic coverage last night on Grind City Media. And CJ, it was a devastating end to the Grizzlies' Summer League game, if you can ever call a Summer League game devastating. But I am asking everyone to fire up the investigation, to call Nancy Drew, to call Inspector Gadget, to call Detective Benson, whoever it might be, because that was a 3 by Gigi Jackson, and we should have had to sit through overtime in Summer League. Now, I will say, I think Summer League overtime should be illegal. I think calling 77 fouls in a Summer League game should be illegal. I think Summer League games over 2 hours should be illegal. But that was a 3 by Gigi Jackson. I was sitting right there, CJ. I saw it with my own 2 eyeballs. It was a 3. How dare they? How dare the home cooking of the Utah Jazz steal a Salt Lake City Summer League championship from the Memphis Grizzlies?
You watched that game, and your thought was, I can't believe the refs have called 77 fouls. I can't believe these dudes are very clearly and blatantly fouling 77 times. There wasn't a single foul that happened last night where I was like, you know what? That's not a foul. Not a single solitary one. Every single one of those dudes.
10 fouls.
No, every single. Oh my gosh, this guy. At one point, it's hilarious. At one point, dude is at the rim. He is at the rim. It's like, okay, that's a bucket for the Jazz. Everybody sprint back and play defense. And Jemiah's like, no, I'm coming over here to contest. And I'm not going to actually contest because there's no way to actually contest this shot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hurl myself into him. Jemiah Meshack on that shot hit my man with Meshack's shoulder. Then he rolled on him and hit him with his back. And then for good measure, he kicked him a little bit with his heel, right? Like, these dudes earned all 77 of those fouls. Like, that's just what it is when you play in Summer League. The game before that was the exact same way, where it was the 76ers and whoever the hell they were playing. It was like, okay, I got 10 fouls. All right, here I go. I'm closing out on the guy. Uh-oh, I closed out a little too long. He's finna go by me. Oopsie. There, just foul. Just run smack dab into these dudes.
You might as well use them. Listen, I just think there should be a handshake agreement. Yes, they're fouls, but you should not call 77 of them.
But they're not ticky. They weren't ticky tack. I can't believe we're talking about foul calls in summer league. I'm done. You're right.
I thought you were going to be more mad at me.
I am infuriated. Jessica, you didn't hear me.
Infuriated.
You didn't hear me scream. No. When they threw up one replay that showed Gigi clearly behind the 3-point line, and I screamed no, and I screamed another word that for whatever reason we're on YouTube, but you guys say we can't say it. Shocking content. I screamed both of those things. No, and then bleep. It's like, oh, if we go to overtime, I'm not going to make it.
Okay, so I have to read you my exact text message thread with my husband. I texted him. I said, oh no, the Grizzlies are falling apart. I'm devastated. This was in the fourth quarter. He said, devastated by a summer league game? I said, yes. Goodbye championship. He goes, oh, come on. I go, thrilling now. A chance to win. He says, I really don't know what to do with you. You're rooting for a summer league game is both so essentially you and so concerning. And I said, boo, sue me. I care. He said, I am suing you. And then he goes, do you want overtime? Is that what you want? And I said, let's not get crazy. Let's not get crazy. Because I saw the three with my own eyes. Some guy on the baseline who was one of the internal camera guys came up to me. He was like, hey, I have an angle that it shows that he was clearly behind the line and it's a three. And they're going to have to overturn this. And then ultimately the refs come out and are like, nope, nobody wants to work overtime tonight. This game has already gone far too long. Utah Jazz, you can have this one. Grizzlies, too bad, so sad. You'll play again tomorrow. It doesn't matter. Listen, of course, it does not matter, but it would have been the cherry on top for Gigi Jackson last night, who had a tremendous game with 27 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 blocks. We will say over and over again, the win-loss outcomes of a summer league game do not matter. But the play of somebody like a Gigi Jackson last night absolutely does. And I thought it was a incredibly impressive build upon of his first game. He might be the youngest player on this Grizzlies Summer League roster, but he was showing some real big boy moves. His ability to get to the rim in the half court has been one of the biggest standouts these first 2 games for the Grizzlies. It has been really intentional, efficient possessions, getting to the basket. And if he is not doing that, he is hitting really good looks from 3. And of course, he's not perfect. And it is Summer League. And God, the second half of that game was just brutal for a lot of players. It had no flow between the fouls and the physicality and just the sloppiness of it. And even Gigi had a couple turnovers last night. He had a couple fouls. So Ace Bailey had some really tough buckets over him. He got yammed on by Kyle Filipowski. But what I really liked from Gigi Jackson was how he bounced back from those moments in the game and really stayed within himself. And that's maturity. And that's the growth that you're seeing from someone who, yes, he's the youngest player on this roster, but he is a summer league vet. Like, this is his 3rd summer league. And all of that led to him taking that shot at the end of the game with confidence, with purpose, and just being a shoe size away, or ref's bad eyes away, or everybody not wanting to play overtime away from getting it to count. I just thought the play of Gigi last night was great, and I would love to see more of that. You asked me yesterday, CJ, do I need to see more of Gigi Jackson? Like, this isn't a need for anything per se, but yeah, I want to see that continue to build throughout the summer league process, because I think there's even some more significant leaps that he can take. And he looks like he's in a different headspace when it comes to finding ways to get downhill and get to the basket.
It looks like he understands that. And it's hard. You know, you're asking a player who, when you step on the basketball court, all you want to do is your very, very best and get buckets if you're somebody like Gigi Jackson. But you're asking him in this situation to understand. Situationally, yes, you can take whatever shot you want to take against this level of competition. You can get whatever shot off that you want. You can go out there and get a whole bunch of buckets if you want, however you want to go about doing it. But it's not about this level of play. It's about your play when you get with the Grizzlies in October, November, December, regular season basketball. And you're not going to get those looks at the NBA level. You'll get them in Summer League because you're one of the best athletes at Summer League when you play in the NBA. you're not one of the best, or your athleticism isn't so clearly dominant that allows you to take advantage of less athletic players. So you're not getting those same looks in the NBA that you get in Summer League or that you get in the G League. And getting Gigi to rein in his shot selection and to take shots that realistically he's going to be taking with the Grizzlies next year, I think that's a huge step forward for his growth mentally and understanding the game of basketball. Right at the start, I want to say in the first quarter, early in the first quarter, Gigi took a contested pull-up jump shot, and I'm like, oh, what in the hell is Gigi doing? Not because he took that shot. It was a fine shot for Summer League. It was probably the best shot they were going to get on that possession in Summer League, but you're not going to be getting Gigi Jackson ISOs into a pull-up jump shot at the NBA level. You're not going to be doing that in regular season and maybe even playoff basketball, postseason basketball. You're not going to be getting that shot. And after that moment, I thought Gigi did a real good job of shot selection. He took threes that he's going to be getting, or that he will get when he plays with the Grizzlies during the regular season. He got downhill, which is something that he'll be doing a ton of when the regular season starts for the Grizzlies. Also, Gigi was a pest on the boards. He was a force on the offensive glass, and a couple of times he threw down some pretty nice dunks off of offensive rebounds. All in all, I thought for whatever Summer League is, it was a fine GG Summer League game, because what he was doing in Summer League, I could see him directly transferring that to what he'll be doing for the Memphis Grizzlies during the regular season, assuming he finds a way to crack the rotation, grab hold to one of those wing spots that the Grizzlies desperately need somebody to grab hold of.
Right. And then Summer League, like, you have moments where Gigi Jackson's playing center last night. Like, that's the experimentation factor. That's probably not going to be. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. What were you going to say?
No, you got it. I jumped in. Wait, Jessica, I'm sleepy, man. I'm sleepy.
You're sleepy.
I'm sleep deprived, dog. You're used to being this way. I'm not. So I'm a bit off my game. But Gigi Jackson playing center is not something you're going to see during the regular season.
Right, but something that gives him reps and experience sake, and the Grizzlies are, going smaller out there yesterday and just trusting the guys that they wanted to roll with down the stretch. But, you had Meshack guarding Filipowski at times, which was insane. We'll get into the Meshack of it all. But just seeing Gigi thrive in different situational basketball opportunities throughout the Summer League experience, while also focusing on what he could actually do for the Memphis Grizzlies if he shifted into a space of consistency and trust. There's a lot going. Again, this is Summer League, right? Like, we saw a great rookie season from Gigi Jackson in a season that ultimately didn't really matter much for the Grizzlies. Injury riddled. He was able to get way more shots than anticipated in his rookie year, way more playing opportunity than a tough sophomore season. You saw the frustrations run through. Now coming into the Summer League, you're seeing just a really intentional Gigi in growing his game, but then also you're seeing the joy back in his game. And that's why, even from, bouncing back from those mistakes, I think it's important for, like, the headiness of Gigi Jackson, just to be able to stay within himself, to be able to trust the coaching staff too. Like, he was, I thought his comments last night in my post-game interview with him about boss man Kleiman and also Tomas Isolo and this coaching staff, of just trusting him and knowing that, like, his best ability is to get going downhill. Like, if you know that, you drill that into his head, that's what Gigi Jackson is going to be working on the most. And you saw, the offensive rebound that he had in the first half and the move that he made off of that offensive rebound to get to the spot where he ultimately dunked was really impressive. He had another one off of, I think it was a pass from Meshack, but just the moves that he's putting through, you're like, oh, those are impressive. Oh, and the opportunity he had where he's guarding the inbounds pass. Our friend Chip Williams put this clip out, but he's guarding the inbounds pass. He runs full court with, I think it was Isaiah Collier, ultimately blocks Isaiah Collier's layup attempt on one end, then sprints the other direction back and finishes with a tough layup through contact of his own. It's all good stuff. That's the kind of production. Those are the kind of moments that you want to see from a Gigi Jackson in Summer League. And that's what this is all about. Cam Spencer was the other guy who really stood out last night for the Grizzlies. Those first 3 threes that he hit, I wasn't even able to get to my seat before he had hit his third three. I was kind of standing in the back tunnel area behind the basket waiting for a break and play. And you're just, like, shaking your head. You're like, oh my God, Cam Spencer, like, come on. And for him to ultimately have 7 threes last night, you love to see that, because the Grizzlies need 3-point shooters. Like, you do not have Desmond Bane anymore. You do not have Luke Kennard anymore. You need good, consistent three-point shooting. And Cam Spencer's shot is so pure. And the way he embraces taking tough threes, but still good threes, like he's hunting that itty bitty tiny space to get his shots off screens, off the dribble, catch and shoot opportunities. Like he's always looking for different ways to get a shot. I thought that was really impressive last night. And this is the guy who led college basketball in three-point shooting percentage when he was at UConn. And ultimately to see that consistency grow for him as a three-point threat could be huge, because you also get what he brings for you on the defensive end. He's insane. He has his jersey ripped. His jersey became a V-neck last night, CJ. I saw you said that we should have a giveaway of some sort of Cam Spencer ripped jersey. I completely agree. It was the mood. It was the moment. This is Cam Spencer, who says that he wants to win a Summer League championship. Who cares about winning a Summer League championship? It's Cam Spencer. So you bring all of that, and also him playing on the ball. Like, he played a lot of point last night and looked better, looked more comfortable in that from game 1 to game 2, less turnovers last night. Those are all things that I think are really encouraging about the continued growth of Cam Spencer, and one of the reasons why they ultimately reward him with a new contract.
If you're relying on Cam Spencer to be a ball handler, I think that's because a whole lot of dudes got injured. I don't take much of anything away from Cam Spencer being on the ball, just like I don't take much, if anything, away from Meshack and Gigi running the 5. That's just something that happens in Summer League, or something that should only happen in Summer League. At a certain point, you kind of got to accept dudes, not kind of, you have to accept dudes for what they are. And say, okay, you're really good at this, then that is all we want you to do. We'll find somebody else to go and do some of this other stuff. But if you're a really good shooter and you're not a defensive liability, then all I want you to do is be a really good shooter and not a defensive liability. I feel like we got really excited as a collective with Desmond Bane running the point and Desmond Bane being a playmaker in Summer League. And we're like, oh, Desmond Bane can do that at the NBA level? Sure, why not? And he wasn't particularly great at that. And it lended itself to some false confidence in him, which meant that there were some roster moves that were made with the assumption that, oh, okay, we might not need a ton of depth at this position because we've got somebody in Bane who can facilitate the offense, right? So I want to caution against that sort of thinking as it pertains to any of these dudes playing out of position. What I enjoyed about Cam is what everybody enjoyed. He's out there, he's being feisty, he's playing with the ripped jersey, he's making threes. I will say that in the second half, the Jazz made more of an effort to not just leave him open from the three-point line. He made, 1 or 2 threes in the second half, and that's only because he took like 3 threes in the second half. So I would want for him to find a way when teams decide, okay, we're not just going to leave this guy wide the hell open. I would like for him to find a way to still get those threes up in some sort of a capacity. But yeah, you're not going to knock anybody who made, how many threes did he make? You said he made 7 threes last night. Yeah, I'm not going to knock anybody for making 7 threes. And they weren't just wide open threes.
Like, and I agree with you in principle about doing what you're good at and sticking with that. But I will say, even getting this smaller look at Tomas Isolo's system, it was funny. There was a Jazz fan in the stands who was like, this isn't fair. The Grizzlies shouldn't be allowed to have their real head coaching their Summer League team. But it does give you this kind of glimpse into what he's trying to do. And I don't think you can ever have you can never have too many ball handlers, and you can never have too many three-point shooters on any NBA team. And for this Grizzlies team, you saw how fast they are playing. It's not like out of control fast. It's not Speedy Gonzalez of last season per se, but the words that came to me were movement with a purpose always. And from the offensive side of that, where you're seeing a ton of screens, on-ball screens, off-ball screens, but everybody is constantly moving with a purpose. And then on the defensive end, like the activity level's at 100. Coming out of the gate yesterday, the first quarter, I think they forced 9 turnovers. And there's only 10 minutes in these quarters in Summer League. So 9 turnovers in 10 minutes. They forced another 25 turnovers in the game. They had 25 forced turnovers in the first game too. It's a lot of activity, and you were seeing some quick substitution patterns. So you could see a world where the Grizzlies are trying to rely on depth because they have to play more guys. Because you're playing in that kind of a system, it can tend to lead to tired legs, more exhausted end of game situations. The Grizzlies were exhausted by the end of the game yesterday too. Like that's where it was pretty amazing that they even came back into it in the fourth quarter because they looked tired. But this is where you're building these players and giving them opportunities to do more. So if they're called upon to do more, then you could have a situation where Cam Spencer takes on more of a role or Gigi takes on more of a role. Obviously, Jalen Wells last night, not his best game, but I saw some absolutely wild conversations on Twitter. I'm like, this is Summer League, and Jalen Wells still had 23 points. Obviously, I think
did this
he took 18 shots.
Darnell pointed this out. We did this last year with Jalen Wells. Didn't Jalen Wells start like 1 for 7 from 3 or something ridiculous like that in Summer League?
He was a slow bloomer for Summer League. Like it wasn't until we got to Vegas where he had the game where he made like 6 or 7 threes, and then it's like, oh, he's here. But from Jalen Wells too, like he didn't have a very good shooting night, especially early, but he kept getting his shots up, and eventually he hit some critical big threes down the stretch. So that's what you want to see from him, continuing to get comfortable. Anyway, Mike Wallace is going to join us on the other side. We'll catch up with Mike about all of the happenings of the Grizzlies, what he thought about the performances of Gigi, of Jalen, of Cam, of the rookies thus far, and we'll talk to him about other happenings in the NBA as well when we come back.
It's time for our Pick Six, Mike. 6 classics that we're most looking forward to in the 2025 football season.
Las Vegas, obviously, that's the Grambling State University, Jackson State University clash. They're taking 2 iconic HBCU brands going to an NFL stadium in Las Vegas.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Have you always dreamed of entertaining on the biggest stage in Memphis? The Claw Crew is looking for members to join their team for the 2025-2026 season. Claw Crew members are hardworking, high-energy entertainers who assist Grizzlies home games by hyping up the crowd and much more. Not only do they support the Grizzlies at home games, but also promote in Memphis and across the Mid-South. Open auditions are Saturday, August 9th at FedEx Forum. Visit grizzlies.com/auditions for more information and to register today.
The First Ladies of FedEx Forum, the Grizz Girls, are known across the NBA for setting the standard for professional dance and entertainment, and they are looking for dancers to join their team for the 2025-2026 season. With the chance to gain professional dance experience, collaborate with national and local artists, and connect with the Memphis community, auditioning for the Grizz Girls is an opportunity you do not want to miss. Come show up and show out at Open Call Auditions. Visit grizzlies.com/auditions now for more information.
Shinedown Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum Saturday, August 30th. With special guests Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Have you talked to Norvell since the game?
Yeah, but we're close friends, so it's not one of those. Like, I think it's a little bit.
How long before you said ha 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 ha?
You sent him a text and said, "You want the box score?" You sent him the box score. You want to see the picture of me in the locker room afterwards?
How close are you? Because it would have taken me literally 30 seconds.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
We get to the main event, and you hear the crowd. There's some rumblings in the crowd.
Here we go.
They say, "We want truth."
I love how John Cena said when they were chanting, "We want truth." You can't handle the truth.
There you go.
I loved it.
He takes the knee off, boom. Takes the mask off, boom. And it's our freaking truth. God, man, he cost John Cena the match.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
There are futures for Aaron Judge possibly hitting 400. Hitting 400 at the All-Star break, plus 600.
Oh, wow.
To have a 400 batting average in the regular season, plus 3,800. To win the Triple Crown is only plus 145.
I don't think he's going to hit 400 for the season.
I don't either. I that would be
Ridiculous.
Yes, ridiculous.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome back. Welcome back. We are here on a Tuesday, and on Tuesdays we are joined by Grind City Media's senior editor, Mike Wallace. He joins us every Tuesday. He joins us now. Mike, how's it going?
Hey, it's going well. If you're okay, we're okay. You know what I mean? You're the one waking up the extra early, and we appreciate all the work you're doing. Great job again last night on the broadcast, the pregame and the post-game show last night. It was a tough way to finish, but you're doing a great job out there in Salt Lake City.
Are we allowed to say tough way to finish for a Summer League game? Like, even I, ultimate carer of Summer League. And I did think about this yesterday because some people are making fun of me in my life, CJ being one of them, my husband being another, just general people who don't care about Summer League. I really do find myself caring about this, Mike. Like, I was emotional at last night's game, one, because they lost, and I just want to win. Maybe I'm the Cam Spencer of sports broadcasters. Like, I just want the team that I'm covering to win so badly in these cases. But I was sitting to the left of Lawson Lover. God, his last name is so hard for me to say. Lovingly's father. And he played at the University of Utah, and his dad was there last night, and he was in the seats that Javon Small's grandfather and mother were in the night before. And he was just so proud of his son. And I was getting teary-eyed because he was like, sitting there, and you could just see, like, this was the dream, right? And obviously Lawson's a kind of guy who's fighting for a two-way opportunity, either with the Grizzlies or elsewhere, or fighting for a spot in someone's G League roster. But just seeing his dad was so sweet. And so then I wanted him to do well. I wanted the Grizzlies to do well. I wanted them to win. And ultimately they don't. But do you care about, like, at this point in your career, what are your feelings on Summer League? Because it does feel as if it changes. You can care about it one year. You can kind of not care about it the next. I'm curious where you land with it.
No, I mean, we definitely care about it, and we have to care about it. You know what I mean? It's easy to take this cynical approach that, hey, it's only Summer League for when some people look at it like that, but our preparation doesn't change. The resources that Grind City Media is putting into covering it is definitely the same that we would do for a regular season game or even a playoff game, frankly. The fact that you're out there traveling, with an opportunity to be the first set of eyes that we put on our rookie class and some of our developing prospects. I mean, I don't take it lightly at all. You know what I mean? We know what it's like. The last 2 months, we sat around and we're, fiending for basketball action. You know what I mean? We saw every other team in the league, either play in the playoffs or do some things in the offseason. And we were just sitting here waiting for the chance to see the Grizzlies do something and get back into action. And they're here. So, I had a great time covering the draft and following Cedric Coward's story in person in New York. We're doing a lot in Salt Lake City, and we're going to be doing even more in Vegas. So I do care. The games matter. And we're seeing these prospects that we don't necessarily get a chance to see on a regular basis in a regular season. So yeah, I can get the cynicism that comes with it sometimes, but first of all, that was a 3-pointer. They should have reviewed it and scored. And if you go to overtime and play 2 more minutes, so what, right? Those two teams kept going at it, but I cared about it.
Wait a second. Wait a minute. Just one minute. One damn minute, Mike.
Yeah.
2 minutes of regular basketball. Fine, whatever. 2 minutes of regular basketball. That might take 7 or 8 minutes, right? That might be a little long, but it might. 2 minutes of Summer League basketball, Mike, it's going to be 20, 30 minutes because you got Meshack out there dropping fouls.
No, Meshack had fouled out.
Thank God he had fouled out. So take that back. But it wasn't like the rest of them dudes weren't fouling. He only had 10 of the 77 fouls last night. It was 70-plus total fouls last night. And 2 more minutes, I don't know. I'll have to do the proportions and the percentages. If you got 77 fouls in 40 minutes, that's roughly 2 fouls a minute. So you got 2 more minutes. That's like 5 more fouls. And then we're going to review, Mike. Your boy needs sleep, man. I couldn't do 2 more minutes of Summer League overtime back. I couldn't. Not from where I was.
I found myself at the point I was like, okay, you care a lot, but do you care enough for overtime. You care enough to really be angry that they got this call so wrong. And like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. But what does matter is the play of Gigi, Mike. And this is a big summer for Gigi Jackson. He wanted to play in Summer League. The organization wanted him to play in Summer League. And it, I think, requires constant reminding of just how young Gigi Jackson is, not as an excuse, but just as a barometer of where he should be in his development, where he can continue to grow in his development and his potential. What have you seen from Gigi in these first couple of games that encourages you for his continued growth?
Almost 50 points in 2 games. Very, very encouraging, right? I mean, he knows how to put the ball in the basket. He's a 3-level scorer, actually a 4-level when you count last night's heave, right? So he could score, crossing half court. He could score at the 3-point line. Decent free throw shooter when he's focused. Can get in the paint mid range, and also obviously he's doing a lot of work at the rim too. I love the fact that they're using him in a number of different positions. At a certain stage, we saw in the first half he was playing center. Going up, and that's not a comfortable position for him. And he didn't get abused, but he also had some moments where, he wasn't in position. So he's trying to find the right things to do to give himself a chance with Tuomas Isolo's new system. But what I want and what the Grizzlies have to do is figure out, is Summer League Gigi Jackson going to translate into regular season Gigi Jackson? The things that we're asking him to do, the shot attempts, the things that he's doing right now, he's always been able to do. He can put the ball in the hole if you give him X amount of field goal attempts per game. Are you going to use him in that way? Is he going to be a super sub 6-man that you're going to feature in the offense next season? If you're not going to do that, then he's just out here just balling. He's street balling if you're not going to apply that. So, the Grizzlies have to meet him, more than halfway now, because it's either a put up or shut up developmental year for Gigi Jackson. Because as we've seen, Jessica, this team has already drafted and positioned themselves to move beyond him if this doesn't work. Jalen Wells, Cedric Coward, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope to a certain extent. Santi Aldama is back. So you have those guys in the mix that can play beyond him. It's just a matter of, is he going to give himself a reason to be a factor?
When it comes to the players who had roles within the Grizzlies organization last year, from Gigi to obviously Jalen Wells being a first-team All-Rookie and a starter for the majority of the season up until he gets injured, and even Cam Spencer, who now has earned himself a promotion off the 2-way contract and into a full contract with the Grizzlies. Those three, and we just talked about Gigi, so moving on into the Jalen and Cam territory, what have you seen from them? What more do you need to see from them as it pertains to Jalen Wells? I know you had said coming out of game 1, put him in bubble wrap, but I did think last night, as he struggled through a bad shooting night and then continued to find his shots and ultimately get a little more flow going, also from a standpoint of staying the primary on-ball defender for this group and seeing that defensive intensity that you want to see from Jalen Wells. But just how do those two continue to fit into the Summer League plans, and then beyond, how that translates out of Summer League and into what the Grizzlies want to utilize with them?
The thing about, and I'll go first individually with Jalen Wells. It's encouraging because he's still finding ways to be productive when his shot isn't, accurate right now, right? He's finding ways to be on the ball and help as a facilitator. Off the ball, you're still seeing him set the defensive tone by guarding, full court, to set that type of tone and force turnovers. So he's doing a lot of other things except for knocking down the shot that we're used to seeing. Now, he's had stretches like, late in the fourth quarter or second half, I think he hit 2 key back-to-back ones to keep the Grizzlies going. So that's been good. But the thing about it is that it's going to be hard for him to try to find that rhythm because he's playing with guys that he's not going to be playing with on a regular basis. Most teams make it easier for him to get his shot off. Now he's trying to make it easier for other guys to get their shots going. So, it doesn't alarm me that he's not shooting the ball necessarily well, but to go back-to-back games with 20 and 23 points shows that he can be productive offensively even without the shot going down routinely from that standpoint. Cam Spencer, I felt like, okay, I was looking at the guy that absolutely fills the Luke Kennard void, right? And the thing about Cam is that he's going to be willing to take those shots that Luke didn't necessarily feel comfortable with. Cam doesn't need much airspace to get his shot off. Now, the question of it is, can he put himself in position by setting up himself or setting up others? You can't just be 6'3" out there running around waiting for people to find you. You have facilitating obligations if you're going to be a guard for the Grizzlies. And that's where they run into trouble. Summer League or regular season, this team seems to find a problem with a legitimate point guard who can organize offense. It's not Zion pulling right now, even though some guys, had a high number of assists. Meshack had 9 assists. I couldn't believe that, right? But the guys that need to be, let me set you up, traditional point guard facilitators, let me calm the offense. I'm still looking for those guys from the Grizzlies, whether it's the Summer League, and particularly stretches when Ja's not on the floor last season with the Grizzlies until Scottie emerged.
When you look at the first 2-game sample size of Tomasi Salo's system and the philosophy of Tomasi Salo as the Memphis Grizzlies head coach, I thought Gigi Jackson used the phrase last night in our post-game talk that Coach Tomas always says, speed kills. And I put a little trigger in my head of reminding, okay, speed kills. That's one of his go-tos. As we learn a new head coach's idioms and phrases that he kind of tends towards. You see a lot of speed, but it feels more meticulous speed. I don't know. It just feels very purposeful in what he's doing, both on the offensive end. Obviously, defensively, seeing them play full court press in a summer league game speaks volumes, forcing 5-second violations, picking guys up full court consistently throughout the game. How have you seen both the offensive mindset of Tomasi Salo begin to take form and then also the defensive side?
Yeah, the defense is what I paid attention to most, because when Isolo came in, we heard so much about his offensive system, and we knew that he was going to be an architect offensively, but where were they going to go defensively? Because that's where the Grizzlies struggled down the stretch last season, and what was he going to do to implement that? And what we've seen is that when they do pick up full court, they can be a disruptive team. What I saw last night was a lot similar, even in the 5-out, motion and space game. It looked a lot similar to what the Grizzlies were doing early last season, right? It wasn't like he completely reinvented the wheel. He's doing it now with a group of guys that want to buy into whatever it takes to get on the basketball court. So it's a little easier to do that when you have, 17 guys or 20 guys on your roster who want to prove that they belong on your team. The challenge is what's going to happen when he has to navigate Jaren Jackson Jr. and Ja Morant. What's going to happen when he has to figure out what to do with the big man in the center role from a center who's going to start the season potentially having never played with any of these guys before. What are those things going to look like? So I think what you're seeing initially is his ability to communicate, which we saw last season. You're seeing his ability to make adjustments, his ability to spread the rotation out for whatever's necessary. And what you're also seeing is guys not hesitating to take shots and be in the right positions. And as long as he's doing that and balancing the floor and using speed, as Gigi Jackson talked about, then guys are going to be able to get open shots or at least rhythm shots. And if you could get those, you just have to knock them down from that standpoint. So this is Summer League for Tuomas as well, too. He didn't. Look, I'm not going to dismiss what I saw in the last 10 games of last season. I wasn't impressed. He didn't do a great job with the things that he had. And I also thought in the playoffs, he didn't necessarily help the teams, especially in those games they had a chance to win, the last 2 against Oklahoma City. But I also think he needs to have some grace and a learning curve. And I think we're seeing that play in right now as he continues to build out a staff that hasn't been finalized yet.
It's also the rookie's first opportunity to play organized NBA light basketball. And we got to see Jemai Meshack last night for the first time. As you mentioned, he had 9 assists, which I too, looking at the box score, was like, 9 assists. Where'd those come from? There were some really pretty passes. He had a full court alley-oop pass at one point, and I was like, oh, that was a very nice pass. But the biggest thing that comes from his game is he fouled out in his first ever Summer League game, where you're thinking, that takes effort to foul out of a Summer League game where you get 10 fouls. And you could see the emphasis on physicality from the beginning, and you're allowed to have a little more leeway because you do have the 10 fouls to give. But you did see these flashes of this defensive presence that made fans and the Grizzlies organization excited to have the opportunity to take him with the last pick in this year's draft. Where do you see the Summer League progress report for Jemai Meshack? What would it look like for it to be a positive? Because ultimately this is a guy who's going to more than likely be one of the Grizzlies' 2-way contracts and will be spending a good amount of time in South Haven. But you did see these flashes of just that defensive energy that I think a lot of Grizzlies fans have been very thirsty for when it comes to the style of play that Meshack plays with.
Yeah, I mean, he was active for sure. And I was watching the shows last night, and see, you tweeted a lot about him, and CJ, loved him and hated him at the same time. You know what I mean? Because of everything that was going on. So that was good to see. His activity is there, his athleticism, his ability to be sort of that Swiss Army knife in that position from that standpoint. He's kind of and I'm giving him too much of a praise because again, he was the last pick of the draft at Tennessee and didn't really evolve as an offensive player much at all there. But when you see him on the court in this setting, he gives you a little bit of Patrick Beverly / Tony Allen when it comes to how he goes about the mindset of defending. When I saw him switch and have to play some 5 at 6'3", I was like, wow, this dude did not hesitate at all when he had to shift down. Now, again, he was out of position. It led to a lot of fouls. I thought, this Utah game, whether it was this year against Utah or last year in the Summer League, they were really, really good tests for the Grizzlies because you're going up against Sensabaugh, who's been around Summer League forever, it seems like. Isaiah Collier is a guy that got some minutes in the NBA last season. Obviously, Filipowski played in their rotation last year, and then Cody Williams was a lottery pick last year. So you're having to defend guys that were in NBA games a lot for the Jazz last year. And for him to get that as a first taste, coming off of just getting eligible because of the trade, his head was probably spinning. So, we'll see. Those fouls are going to come down, but his activity, you want to see that continue to ramp up.
I just want to push back real quick, just small pushback. There's a difference between physicality and laziness. And a lot of those fouls everybody was committing was, oh no, dude is about to go by me, put my defense in a bad spot. Let me just go ahead and catch this foul. I got 8 more fouls to give. And Meshack, because of the mentality that he has, like, oh, I got 10 of them? Great. Let me use 5 of them in my first 6 minutes and then figure it out from there and start reining it in. Once he got to like 7, he chilled out, calmed down. With the silly, lazy not even ticky tack. Because everybody they fouled. They were hitting. They weren't hand checking and like little slap. No, they were putting dudes on their back. He chilled out with that. And I'm with you, Mike, watching him switch on to players of multiple positions. I don't think you brought up Tony Allen and Patrick Beverly, and Tony Allen is a great defender. Patrick Beverly is somebody who's very active on that side of the ball. You just go back to the NBA Finals, look at the NBA playoffs, and you look at the play of somebody like a Neesmith, look at Caruso, look at Dort, look at Wallace. You look at those types of perimeter players, and you say, oh, okay, I see why the Grizzlies targeted this type of player, not just in Meshack, but in small also, where it is, oh, okay, they're going to battle no matter what position they're asked to guard. You're not going to get anything easy off of them. And then in actual NBA games, if Meshack is good enough one day to get up there and be with the Grizzlies during the regular season, he won't be out here just clobbering dudes, picking up 4 fouls in 7 minutes, right? That just won't be what he's doing.
Yeah. He's going to have the discipline. Obviously, he's going to have to play with a little more discipline than that. Let's also remember this summer league is about development for these officials too. I thought they missed at least a handful of calls that were obvious from watching it.
You wanted more fouls. There were 77 foul calls. You wanted more fouls?
Like for instance, I thought it was easy to see that Gigi's 2 was a 3, and I thought that the travel call that Utah got caught up on that gave the Grizzlies a chance. I didn't think that was a travel. I clearly saw that the guy that made the call was calling from the half court side out of bounds area, and he didn't see the left hand dribble go down, right? So it was almost like these guys are over blowing the whistle because they want to be graded on calls that they make, not necessarily the ones that they necessarily miss. So it's summer league for everybody. But at the end of the day, man, the bottom line is that Meshack is going to be a guy that he won't have the luxury of that many fouls. As a matter of fact, if he would have picked up 2 in that first quarter, he would have gotten himself on the bench. But he got a chance to pick up 5.
Yeah. He was out there with 5, and I was like, "Oh, this is so summer league." He has called back to the bench at this point. Just worth noting on these rookies. I know it's not about winning a press conference; it's about contributing, winning basketball. But having gone back, and I wasn't able to be at the introductory press conference in Memphis with Cedric Coward and Meshack and Small, but I went back and listened to it on my way back from my trip, and they were so impressive, all 3 of them in that press conference. And then talking to Javon Small and Jemai Meshack at shoot-around yesterday before the game, just like wildly impressive rookies. And from a media standpoint, a lot of people don't, think it's a big deal, but the way they communicate and like are able to conduct themselves within interviews, that's not a given in young players coming into the league, because it's really stressful and it's a really hard thing to give interviews. Like, it's hard to talk, and both of them are just so like poised and impressive in everything they say, and just in terms of like personalities that are easy to fall in love with. Obviously, I'm irrationally falling in love with players throughout all of summer league because I'm crazy with summer league. But I think Grizzlies fans, and especially if they spend a lot of time in South Haven, those are two really easy guys to root for, which is very fun for an organization to have. I did want to ask you, Mike, who are the Jazz? Because I've spent a lot of time here in Utah with a lot of Uber drivers going back and forth from the Huntsman Center. And people here want the Jazz to be good so badly. And they are so close to being apathetic towards the Jazz. But I had someone yesterday, one of my drivers, said that they did not go to a single Jazz regular season game last year, but they are going to all 3 summer league games here in Salt Lake City because they believe in Ace Bailey and they're excited about the youth of this team. But then you look at a move like yesterday with the 3-team trade between the Clippers and the Heat and the Jazz, and they send John Collins to the Clippers, and you can't look at it as anything but a salary dump of John Collins. They get a second-round pick back, they get Kyle Anderson, they get Kevin Love at the end of his career, and it's just, I'm constantly left in this limbo zone of who are the Jazz? So what's your take on it?
They had Austin Ainge, I believe his first name is Austin, who Danny Ainge's son or whatever, took over sort of the day-to-day operations of what the team is doing. They had him on during the broadcast yesterday. While you were in the arena, obviously doing your job, but those who watched the game could see it, on the broadcast. And he said he frankly, talked about that trade. And he said basically this was a favor for John Collins for being a good soldier and staying healthy and playing and understanding that, we were in a transitionary period as a franchise. They moved off of a lot of their guys. Jordan Clarkson moved on. I want to say,
Sexton.
Yeah, Sexton moved on as well too. So what they're doing now is doubling and tripling down on the breakdown, building it back through youth. And I think Ace Bailey is one of those guys that you see him and he jumps, literally jumps off the page in terms of his charisma. His smile is always on his face. The way he plays, there were stages where I think yesterday was his coming out game, really, for them. And to be able to do that in Salt Lake City, with them having to do this before they transition to Vegas as well was a good sign. I don't believe in the way Ainge did it. I think he took a really, really proud franchise and took it to the dumpster. And he hasn't really shown that they have a path back. Everybody can say, yeah, let's rebuild through the draft. But you still got to hit on guys. They've been drafting for the last 5-6 years and hadn't necessarily been able to take a step forward. I think it's you owe it to your fans, especially when you're in a fan base in a market like Salt Lake City and like Memphis and like Oklahoma City and like other places that don't have multiple professional franchises. You owe it to them to be, a competitive team that should be able to target the playoffs at least every year and give yourself a chance. Because free agents aren't going to want to knock down your door to come to those kind of markets necessarily when they have better options. So I'm bullish, and I really dislike the way Utah did it. And they tried to outsmart everybody and it hasn't worked. And if you're that fan base, you grew up watching Karl Malone and Jerry Sloan and John Stockton, and those weren't the most talented teams, but they played hard and they made sure they were in the playoffs every year to give themselves a chance to get to the finals. That's not what's going on in Utah right now, and it really is a shame because I think that they deserve a lot more than that. Hopefully for them at some point they'll get it right. I think Ace Bailey is somebody you could definitely build around, and we'll see where it goes from there.
When you look at that trade as a whole, the Heat get Norman Powell. The Clippers are now in a position where there's, rumors perhaps they could be a landing spot for Bradley Beal. Could they be the end of Chris Paul's career too? How do you evaluate it from both of those? When that trade came through live on our show yesterday, it made no sense to me at first glance. And still trying to make sense of it here a little bit today.
It made sense to me from the standpoint that everybody was right for being involved in that trade, and you can see why their intentions were. Norman Powell is coming off of a career year. At this stage, he could have won Most Improved Player 10 years into his career like this, and he was due for a contract extension. He wanted to get paid commensurate to what he provided for that team last year, and he was a borderline all-star, right, for the Los Angeles Clippers, from that standpoint. So it was his time to get his rightful payday, and the Clippers weren't going to invest in him to that way. So they need to send him somewhere where he can continue to be as productive as he was and potentially get some money. Miami struck out on some free agents. This might be a guy that can, give them the points that they need. So I can understand why Miami did it. They were desperate to get another scorer. The Clippers were repositioning how they wanted to do it. So getting John Collins gave them another front court scorer. They had a lot of wings, not enough front court guys at that power forward position. And now they doubled down. They got Brook Lopez and John Collins. So they fortified their front line. And then Utah was just in a situation where they wanted to get off of a veteran, create $23 million in a salary cap, in a trade exception that they can use either now or into free agency next year at the trade deadline to take on contracts, to get more draft picks, and to do it their way. So it was a transaction for them, and it made sense for the other two teams as well.
Mike, look forward to seeing you. When do you fly to Las Vegas?
Yeah, we do the handoff. I don't think we physically see each other, but we'll do
I will
handoff.
throw the microphone.
Yeah, we'll throw the baton.
Las Vegas.
I fly out on Thursday to get to Las Vegas and take over from there. But you definitely left some big shoes to fill. You set the tone for us and continue to do that, man. You and Blevins are doing a great job out there. CJ did a great job last night with the pregame show, and looking forward to everything tonight as well too.
Thanks, Mike. We'll see you next time.
All right. Take care. Safe travels.
Thank you. As he said, we will be back tonight for another Salt Lake City Grizzlies game. Grind City Media will have the pregame show at 5:45 Central Time. It is Grizzlies Sixers to close this thing out. I would anticipate, I do not know, I am not reporting it as fact, I would guess that the main guys sit tonight. That has usually been the case for the Grizzlies. As we were trying to figure out who was going to play last night, there has been a trend here in Salt Lake where kind of the main guys play the first night of the back-to-back that leads out of Salt Lake City and then sit tonight of the second game because that is also the travel night. So we will see who is ultimately available for the Grizzlies tonight against the Sixers. But we will take a quick break here. We'll come back on the other side. Huge Memphis Tigers scheduling news on the basketball front yesterday coming out about their new series with Baylor. We'll also do some WNBA news and notes. DeWanna Bonner has a new home. We'll get into all that when we come back.
Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals takes it straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Catch us if you can at Southland Casino Hotel and win your share of up to $1.8 million in free play and prizes. Join us for drawings every Saturday in May, June, and July. Each month, over 900 winners will take home free play or drive off in a new car or motorcycle. Be there for all 6 grand finale drawings and try to catch us if you can, only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
These are the Jordan 1, the crystals. These are the shoe that retails for $1,000. Oh, extra crystals. So if your crystals fall off, if your crystals fall off, actually these are the black crystals because the shoe has black crystals on there as well too. So you get an extra package of black crystals.
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
There are futures for Aaron Judge possibly hitting 400. Hitting 400 at the All-Star break, plus 600.
Oh, wow.
To have a 400 batting average in the regular season, plus 3,800. To win the Triple Crown is only plus 145.
I don't think he's going to hit 400 for the season.
I don't either. I that would be
ridiculous.
Yes, ridiculous.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
It's time for our Pick Six, Mike. 6 classics that we're most looking forward to in the 2025 football season.
Las Vegas, obviously, that's the Grambling State University, Jackson State University clash. They're taking 2 iconic HBCU brands, going to an NFL stadium in Las Vegas.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Welcome back on this Tuesday. CJ, I forgot to tell you, I found out that the person in the room next to me can hear us do this entire show. So the walls here are thin. Yeah.
Do they?
Someone came up to me. What?
They don't hear us, they hear you.
Oh yeah, because I have headphones in. So yeah, they hear me.
I bet they think you are crazy. Oh my God.
They were like, luckily it's someone we work with, so I know the person. But they came up and they go,
that's not as cool.
I just want you to know, I could hear your entire show yesterday morning, and I was thinking about staying in bed, but I was up.
Hearing one side of this show has got to be one of the most confusing experiences.
Feels like a manic episode. Yeah,
because I can bring up BET Uncut over here, and then you respond to that. And they're like, wait, what in the hell is she talking about to herself? Can you imagine if I was the voice in your head? That would be awful. You need help.
That's my nightmare.
And so they probably think if this wasn't a person who we work with, a coworker, they'd probably think, oh, that poor woman over there has gone insane. She needs help. I don't know who the hell CJ is in her head, but she is yelling at that thing. She's got to get on medicine.
Well, it made me wonder if the person on the other side, who might not be a coworker,
I bet they can also. Oh, I bet they can.
And people
also.
in the hall.
I bet they can also.
So I was trying to be a little quieter, but I don't think I've succeeded thus far. I just got too excited talking about Summer League. You know how it happens. Just as I'll get too excited talking about off-season scheduling news. But this was genuinely exciting when it came through yesterday. That Memphis basketball and Baylor have agreed to a 4-year home-and-home series that starts this December 6th. They are going to play at FedEx Forum, and that game will be on CBS and Paramount Plus. It will be the 9th all-time meeting between the teams, Memphis 6-2 all-time over Baylor. They have not played each other since 2014. Baylor has not played Memphis in Memphis since 1976. Memphis gets the first home game. It'll go to Waco for 2. Final one back in Memphis. Love that Memphis gets the first one. Saw Jason Munn's reporting that Memphis also gets 100% of the media rights fee for this game, which is awesome. This is something that the American is doing with their distribution policy, where schools that schedule good home non-conference games that get on TV will get 100% of the media rights payout instead of having to share it with other members of the conference. And so it's essentially a reward for scheduling good non-conference games at home. And this constitutes Memphis versus Baylor. I love this. We talk all the time about how in playing in the American, you have to create, one, a good non-conference schedule for the sake of your strength of schedule, for the sake of proving that you can play good teams. And when you look at a resume come tournament time, you want those names on that resume, but also from an excitement standpoint, right? Like you want names of teams that bring fans into the building, and Memphis versus Baylor on December 6th is certainly going to gather a lot of excitement and eyeballs, both in Memphis and from a national audience.
Yeah, and that's all you can do You got to control what you can control. If you're the Memphis Tigers, you're in the conference that you're in. You're going to be playing most of your regular season basketball games against teams in that conference. And unless something changes drastically in the next couple of years, it's not going to be a particularly good conference. That'll be a conference that for the next couple of years, unless something changes, there'll be a perennial one bid league. Whoever wins the league gets in. And so you got to schedule good teams. And Penny Hardaway, one of the things he's done a really good job of, and one of the things that the Memphis Tigers athletic department has done a really good job of, not just in the Penny Hardaway era, but in other eras as well, is scheduling good teams and finding a way to get good teams regionally and outside of the region onto the roster. They'll need this. I can't remember the years. Is it 27, 28, 29? They'll need, whenever this is, they'll need this game to help bolster that rating. And I can't believe we're sitting here and it's July and already we're going to be talking about some quad talk, because this is a quad one opponent, Jessica. That's what this is. And so in 2027, we know for a fact Memphis has at least one quad one opponent on the schedule. So it'll be fun. Also, as a player, you want to go into these types of environments and see how good you are. You want to play against the best teams in the nation and see how good you are and how you stack up. And it helps you, if you're Penny Hardaway, head coach of the Memphis Tigers, it helps you point to things that players need to continue to improve on to get the job done and be where they want to be at the end of the season. And I know we're not done with we hadn't even started the 2026-2027 season. But the standard is what the standard is at the University of Memphis. So I feel confident in saying in 2027, 2028, the standard will be win the American regular season, win the American tournament, and get to a Sweet 16. And this right here helps you do all of those things.
Yeah, and for Memphis, their non-conference schedule next year is looking great. You got Baylor, you have Louisville, you have Mississippi State, you have Ole Miss, San Francisco.
Wait, is Baylor
UNLV,
next year?
The game. Yeah.
Is Baylor this coming season? Okay.
2026. I mean, this year.
Oh.
Yeah, 2025, 2026. 2025, 2026, 2026, 2027, 2027, 2028.
Got you. So they are playing this year.
Yeah, December 6th.
Okay.
It's immediate.
Cool.
That's quick. And shout out to Coach Drew for, when these kind of deals go down, it does take the acceptance of that deal to allow Memphis to have the first home game. And that's cool for the U of M. But yeah, they have a good non-conference schedule and just some interesting opponents. You get UNLV with Josh Pastner. I know the Arkansas game I think it's going to be an exhibition game, right, for charity, but still to have that. And then you get someone like a Baylor, and I know there's no continuity in college basketball these days, but you at least get continuity with a opponent, and that can create a mini short-term rivalry of sorts because you do become familiar with playing Baylor and going to Waco for 2 years and then them coming back here as well. So that was an exciting piece of news for the Memphis Tigers. Some WNBA news and notes from yesterday. DeWanna Bonner is expected to sign with the Phoenix Mercury, according to reports. She was
Didn't see that
the
coming.
Mercury game last night. They put her on the Jumbotron. She was welcomed with a big ovation. So I'm thinking that DeWanna Bonner is indeed signing with the Phoenix Mercury. I'm going to connect those dots. And as CJ said, shocked. I'm absolutely shocked. One, it is the place where she spent 10 seasons and was a 2-time champion and a 3-time Sixth Woman of the Year, a 3-time All-Star, made an All-WNBA team, made an All-Defensive team. It's also the place where her fiance, Alyssa Thomas, plays. Alyssa Thomas, who had a triple-double last night in a win over the Wings, 12th triple-double of her career, first with the Mercury. I actually turned on SportsCenter when I got home from the game last night because I was trying to unwind, and it was the Mercury Wings highlights that were on when I flipped it on. Sammy Whitcomb went off in that game. She had 19 points in the first quarter. She had 36 in the game. Big win for the Mercury. Obviously, the Wings continue to struggle as they are in their rebuilding of a period, and Paige Beckers is great but can't do everything. But this reported signing of DeWanna Bonner to the Mercury, I'm really curious about it because over the 14 years of DeWanna Bonner's career, she's been great. And she's been one of the most consistent sources of offense in the league. And every team that she has joined, she has been a net positive to that team outside of the Indiana Fever. She went to Indiana to win. it didn't work out for whatever the reasons, be it that she thought she was going to be a starter and she lost that position, be it the pace of play that the Fever play with and she wasn't able to keep up with it, be it some other mystery rumor of the internet that has constantly been swirling around this situation. But I'm not ready to punt on DeWanna Bonner being a positive addition to this Mercury team. Like, the Mercury are putting together a really good season. They're also fighting through a lot of injuries themselves right now. Kalia Copper's day-to-day with a hamstring injury. Satu Saboi's dealing with an ankle injury. So this gives them depth. She can play multiple positions. The last time she played with Alyssa Thomas last year, like, they played well together. Granted, the Mercury are probably playing a little bit faster than the Sun played last season. But ultimately, we will see what this signing means, both for the Mercury and for DeWanna Bonner, because there are a lot of people, and it all stems from how things went down with the Fever. And it also stems from, looking at this through the lens of, okay, she got out of a position where she didn't want to be, and she ultimately gets to sign on a team where she has a relationship with one of her fellow teammates. And people have been pretty negative about this whole situation.
Yeah, people are negative because they don't like when players exercise their power influence in this sort of a way. It's like, you got to suck it up and you got to be in this situation. We don't know what the situation was with Bonner and the Indiana Fever, but sports people are, hey, you end up in a bad sports situation, you end up in a bad with a bad franchise. Not saying that that's what the Fever are, but what I'm saying is you end up in one of those situations. You're an athlete, you're a professional athlete, you got to suck it up and you got to ride it out. And they don't like when players decide, no, I'm not going to suck it up. I'm not going to ride it out. I have the power to, if I'm good enough, I have the power to absolutely force my way out. And that's what people don't like. DeWanna Bonner been in this league for, I can't tell you how many years. What is it, 15 years? 14 years. Yeah. Averaging double figures every single one of those years. DeWanna Bonner is a champion. She's won, like you said, sixth woman of the year in the W a handful of times. This is somebody who is third all time. Didn't we celebrate her in one of those games with the Fever? One of those 6 or 7 games with the Fever, she became the third all-time leading scorer, if I remember correctly, in WNBA history. This is somebody who is a walking bucket and is an immediate good piece to have on anybody's roster, everybody's roster, from the Dream to the Lynx to the Wings to the Sun. She is an absolute. She would be an absolute pivotal piece on anybody's roster. So if you're the Phoenix Mercury and you're sitting there right now, second in the are they second in the W or second in the West? I think they're second in the W standings right now, and you get a chance
first in the West,
and you get the chance to add a piece like this to your roster. Absolutely, you go out there and do that. And I think the prorated rate for DeWanna Bonner the rest of the season, I think that there's not a prorated rate. Excuse me. The prorated rate was for the Fever. Now you clear waivers, so now you can pay her the vet minimum, which is, I don't know, $50,000 or something like that for the rest of the season. So yeah, if you can go out there and get that type of player at that type of price, you absolutely go do it, and you give yourself a much, much better chance to go out there and make a legitimate push now for a WNBA championship. Pitch yourself in the same tier. We'll see how it all works out. But you could absolutely see yourself or see them pitting themselves in the same tier of teams as the Liberty and the Lynx right now. When you think about what Copper is and you think about what AT is, and now you add DeWanna Bonner, and you got all of those rookies who aren't really rookies, but it's their first year in the W, so we're calling them rookies on the roster. Like this Mercury team seems poised right now to do more than make some noise in the postseason. They seem poised to make a legitimate push for a WNBA championship.
We will get into some of the other happenings from the WNBA from this past week that we haven't had the time to get through because we've had so much Summer League to discuss. We'll do that in Noops We Missed It again tomorrow. But we'll take a quick break here. We'll come back on the other side. We'll do a little TV Tuesday, wrap this show up. I'm so excited about a show that is coming back to HBO. It is my favorite show of all time. And I have to tell you about the story of how I found out that it was returning when we come back.
On Demand, the Summer of 99 tour returns. July 27th, FedEx Forum. With very special guest, Daughtry. And Mammoth. Tickets on sale now at LiveNation.com. Don't miss Creed with Daughtry and Mammoth. The Summer of 99 tour.
1, 2, 3. Ready, go.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at LiveNation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit Shinedown.com.
All right, reflection time. 42 and 21 entering your sixth season. Of the 42, which one do you think about the most?
Probably was the Liberty Bowl win versus Iowa State.
Iowa State.
That was a big one.
To win it that fashion, we were, I think, it was the biggest underdog game we'd had all season.
Yeah.
10-point underdog, wherever the heck it was. And they go out there and feel like we actually single-handedly won the game. No fluke plays, just went out there and took care of business.
The better team.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
The Tigers are going to play in November in the Bahamas, the Baha Mar tournament, and the other teams expected to be there. Purdue, Wake Forest, and possibly Texas Tech. So Texas Tech's going to be good. Purdue's going to be good. If you don't have a roster that puts you in that same conversation, it could be a tough trip to the Bahamas.
Yep.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
What can the Memphis Grizzlies learn from the Thunder Pacers NBA Finals series?
Your style of play is not something that you really have to change. Both of these teams love to play fast. Both these teams love to play really aggressively on the defensive side of the ball.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome back. Let's do a little TV Tuesday. TV news that we're interested in and what we are watching before we get out of here and into the rest of our Tuesday. And CJ, I have been waiting to talk about this for like 2.5 weeks now, which is insane because that's not as if I spend a lot of time on my vacation sitting around thinking, gee, I wish I could talk about this on the show with CJ. But this is the exception because when I landed in Antigua like 2 weeks ago now, I had 3 missed calls from one of my friends, and I was kind of worried because we don't call each other like that. And I texted him and I asked him if everything was okay, if he was okay. And he said, I need you to call me right now. And so now I'm worried and I'm trying to make sure that I can call without being charged, which is such a like sad thing to think in the midst of like being worried in an emergency. But I'm like, whatever, I'm just going to call him and I'll figure it out. And I finally get to him. I'm like, are you okay? Is everything okay? And he says, you haven't seen the news. And my stomach kind of sinks for a second. And then he just goes, hello, hello, hello. And in that instant, I knew what he meant. He meant that the comeback is coming back. And his big news that I was worried was actually bad news, was that they're my favorite show of all time. And I'm willing to call it that. The Comeback on HBO starring Lisa Kudrow is coming back for a 3rd season. And this is a big deal because we have not had a new season of The Comeback since 2014. So the way The Comeback has worked, the first season was in 2005, the second season was in 2014, and now the 3rd season is going to premiere in 2026. And this is my official plea and beg to everybody, including you, CJ, to power through the first couple of episodes of the show because it ages kind of funkily and it's a weird like comedy kind of rhythm. But if you get through it, First season's pretty good. The second season is a masterpiece, and I am so excited for season.
What's
3.
it about?
It's about an aging, narcissistic, like celebrity, movie star, TV star. She was a sitcom star, and she is aged out of relevance. And in the first season, it's kind of like her coming back through a reality TV show. And so when you're watching in 2005, it's early reality television. And so you look back at it through this lens, watching it in today's day and age of like, oh God, like the cringiness of early reality TV that was so new and so strange. This idea of somebody allowing a camera to follow them through their entire life. But this woman just wants to be relevant so desperately. And Lisa Kudrow's character, Valerie Cherish, is so funny. My friend who called me, his dog is named Cherish because of Valerie Cherish. Like, we've been obsessed with this show for literally decades now. And it's really funny. And I have high hopes for season 3 because they've obviously taken a lot of time in between. But I think it's one of the most underrated comedies of all time. And I'm not like I wasn't a big Friends fan, so it's not like I'm coming at this from, I love Lisa Kudrow. I actually never really thought that all the actresses, okay, this is like a hot take, but that the actresses on Friends were particularly great comedic actresses. No, Lisa Kudrow clears so heavily with this show.
Okay, so why is there such a gap between season 1 and season 2, and then between season 2 and season 3? Is that purposeful, or is that like, okay, we're gonna?
No, I mean,
okay.
I think the first season wasn't particularly popular when it first came out, and then it kind of developed a cult-like following that led to the second season getting an opportunity in 2014. And then when they did that, it was like, okay, the show's done. We ended. The second season is really, really good. We'll just go out on that. But there's always been rumblings of would they come back for a season 3? And now they are coming back for a season 3. And I will be standing in line. And by that, I mean sitting on my couch, ready for the premiere. Great show.
So if season 1 is, okay, actress gets back into the game by using reality TV, the way that we were doing back in the day, Surreal Life and all that jazz. What's season 2 then in 2014?
I don't want to tell you.
Okay.
I want you to just watch it through the purity of
Listen,
how
I'm telling you right now, Jessica, I'm not watching it.
It's short. They're like 20-minute episodes.
Jessica, I've got other things to watch. I'm not going back to watch this.
Come on.
I'm not. I don't want to lie
I
to
don't
you.
need to see that. I quote this show all the time, and you don't even know.
Jessica,
You don't even know.
I am okay with not knowing or understanding that particular
Fine.
side to you. I'm excited for you, though. You seem really, really excited to talk about this show. Who else is in it outside of, and who is Lisa Kudrow?
Okay, that's an insane thing to say. Lisa Kudrow was Phoebe on Friends.
The Phoebe is
the kind of ethereal, ditzy one. Not Jennifer Aniston, not Courtney Cox.
Got you. Okay.
Third.
Okay. The weird one.
Yeah, sure.
Got you. You don't have
She's
to
also,
you don't have to use big ass words like ethereal, Jessica. You can just say the odder one on the show.
Oh, she's not weird. She's just unique. The unique one.
Okay. All right.
She was also
Got
in
you.
Romney and Michelle's high school reunion. If you ever watched that, greatness.
I didn't. Okay, so who else is in this show?
That's unfortunate. That's a good question. There was an actress named Malin Ackerman who ended up being in 27 Dresses and on a show called Billions that I think the comeback was her first show. But it's a relatively unknown cast. There was one cast member has died, which is very sad. So R.I.P. Mickey. He will not be in this season because he passed away a couple of years ago, I think pre-COVID. But yeah, it's Lisa Kudrow's show and a bunch of unknowns.
Give me.
And it's fine. You don't want to watch it. That's your prerogative.
Give me a funny moment from the show. Maybe not the funny moment, but a funny moment.
She wants to be a sexy, relevant older actress, and she gets cast on this new sitcom, and she thinks that this is her comeback. That's why it's called The Comeback. And she thinks that she's going to get to play this cool character, and then she finds out she's the aunt to a younger character, and they put her in kind of a frumpy tracksuit. But there's an episode where she dresses up like a cupcake. It's a lot of physical comedy. It honestly is right up your alley. You would laugh at it. It's stupid. It's
Okay,
so dumb.
can you give me the scene, please, and I'll decide if I'm going to laugh at it. She's dressed as a cupcake, physical comedy.
And she's like going around, I don't know. She's like, has to like maneuver the set in this giant cupcake costume when all she wanted to do was be in like a hot outfit. And she's trying to, I don't know. That's what I remember. There's a scene where she's rehearsing her lines in her kitchen over and over and over again because she wants to get it perfect. And then they end up cutting her line. And the line is, I don't need to see that. And she just does it. It's so funny. I can't describe it. I am not
Somebody in the chat says for you to tell me about the Seth Rogen scene in the comeback.
She meets Seth Rogen in. Wait, no, what?
Are we confusing two different things? Was Seth Rogen in the comeback?
Yeah.
Okay.
I gotta go back. I've rewatched this show twice, and I need to go back and rewatch it for a
Very clearly, because it came out in 2014. Got to be up to date on it. This sounds like what Jenna Maroney goes through on 30 Rock, where an aging actor is trying to. So there's a scene in 30 Rock where Jenna goes in for the read, and it's her and another woman there. The woman is clearly much younger than Jenna. We all know what's going on. They're saying, okay, one is a mom, one is a daughter, go read. And Jenna is reading from the daughter's side of thing with the daughter and flips out when she realizes that she is the mom now. So that's what it sounds like.
Seth Rogen is on in the second season of the comeback. My brain is mush. And then, because I just finished The Studio with Seth Rogen. That's the only thing I've watched since I was last with you. And The Studio is excellent. Cannot recommend it anymore. The last 2 episodes were fantastic. When they're in Las Vegas, it's really, really well done. You think about how much a show is improv and how difficult it is to get those things in one shots with that many comedic actors working together. And I just thought it was a tremendous show. So anyway, watch The Comeback, watch The Studio. What are you watching, CJ?
I finished Ironheart. I think most people really, really enjoyed it. Me not so much. Marvel has taken this sort of, not taking this sort of turn. Marvel has decided to go with the less superhero-y side of things and the more human element side of storytelling. And so that's something that I can do without. I'm not into the drama type stuff. So, but you can trick me into watching it if the story is filled with superheroes, right? And so I'm sitting down. Yeah. That's one of the things that the Captain, just using these as an example, one of the things that the first trilogy of Captain America movies did well is they tricked me into watching a spy movie. And I hadn't seen Bourne, I hadn't seen 007, I hadn't seen any of those spy movies. And all Captain America is a spy movie, but with superheroes. That's all those movies are, basically, if you boil them down in a nutshell. And they tricked me into watching it. Well, now Marvel has taken, for me, way too much of the superhero-ness out of it. And they left me with just the drama of the human experience. And I'm cool with that. I'm good on that. I enjoyed the way Marvel tackled grief and loss. I enjoyed that in WandaVision way more than I enjoyed it in this one. They're tackling they're tackling grief in both of these things. And for whatever reason, because I just don't like that. The human element really shines through in this TV show. Listen, I think that I also just dislike this character. Not the actors. I think the actors did well. I think the actors and actresses in Ironheart do a tremendous job. I think I just don't like Riri. I don't like what she is. There's a moment there where, okay, redeem yourself. I understand you're young, you're a kid, redeem yourself. And she doesn't. And she makes very clearly the wrong choice. But that's what happens from time to time in our lives, where we have moments of possible redemption. And because we're going through whatever it is that we're going through emotionally, we choose for the less emotionally painful solution. My wife, we were talking about it. She did point out, Remember, Tony Stark, you're levying these critiques on this character. Tony Stark is a one-man war machine, right? He's got his name, Stark Industries, on guns, bullets, and bombs, and he's dropping them and selling them to the highest bidder in Iron Man 1. Like, that's what he is at the start of the Iron Man trilogy and the start of the character arc of Iron Man. And then through time, Tony Stark becomes a more compassionate person. Had to go through some loss, had to go through a bunch of loss, because again, he had moments to be redeemed and he didn't take those moments. And you still, you being me, you still kind of rolled with Tony Stark all the way through to the end. So it's the same type of thing for her. That's what she was explaining to me. And I don't know, she just, the issue I have with her, with Riri, is the same issue I have with someone like Danny Rand, the Iron Fist, where there's way too much whining going on, man. Like, I understand loss is hard, grief is hard, but at a certain point, you got to get the help necessary and take the help that people want to give to you. And every time you turn that down, you move yourself closer and closer to making the wrong decision, and she makes the wrongest of wrong decisions. But it sets up nicely. There is, I don't want to spoil anything, because as she's making these decisions, which is like, okay, I can follow it. You're into the suit to protect your loved ones. I got you. I follow you. Okay, now you're playing with magic that Doctor Strange and them have told everybody, have shown everybody. Like, this ain't nothing to play with. You don't want to mess around with this. But you're playing with it to protect your loved ones. Okay, you probably shouldn't do that. I understand that. I follow that. There is a moment where, I don't want to, again, spoil anything, but a proverbial devil comes through. And after seeing this proverbial devil's work on somebody else, seeing what they did to somebody else, the proverbial devil sits down at the table with her, with Riri, and says, okay, I'll give you what you want. What do you want? And she takes that deal. And it's like, ooh, like, come on, man. It's one thing to make a deal with the devil and you hadn't seen any of the devil's work. It's something else entirely to be fresh off of whooping a dude's ass because of that devil's work. And then you sit down with said devil and then make the agreement that you make with that person. It's going to set up, I think, really interestingly for the rest of these stories to be told in this iteration of the MCU. I just could use a bit more superhero-ness with my superhero TV shows. That's a me thing. I think if you're into those types of stuff, I think you'll enjoy it. Jessica, I think that's something that you would enjoy also. 6 episodes, hour long each. So I'm watching that. And then I started what's it called, Jacob? What's the graphic? Full Metal? Twisted Metal? One of the metals on the Twisted Metal. There we go. So I got access to the Peacock now. And
welcome to the cock.
Hey, thank you. I love the cock. And so the first thing that I sat down, and can you imagine, just for a moment, somebody in the other room heard you say welcome to the cock. So I'm 2 episodes into that. I started it because I like Mackie and I like the woman whose name escapes me for the moment. She played Rosa Diaz in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So I like those two. It's like, okay, let me sit down and see. Is it Rosario something or another?
Hold on.
Let me sit down and see what's going on here. 2 episodes in, and the wife and I are cackling our asses off. It's 30 minutes long, pretty quick. It's been out since 2023. We miss it. Season 2 is coming out pretty soon also. And we're just one of those goofy ass TV shows we put on, we laugh at it, having a good time watching it.
Stephanie Beatrice.
See, couldn't have been wrong.
Could not have been wronger. Well, congratulations. Chris finished Andor last night and he loved it. So
Lang is high on Andor. Lang was talking about Andor last week.
Yeah, maybe I'll watch it. Probably won't. But I might look at Ironheart. That sounded interesting. You did a good sell on it. Much better sell than me on the comeback. I'll work on a better pitch for the comeback to make you watch the comeback by the time season 3 comes out. And if I can't get you for season 3, season 4 is only a decade away. Only a decade away.
We're still going to be here doing Summer League season 4 of the comeback.
I did not realize that you were back tonight. It's an honor that I will get to hear you in my ear once again. It's going to be a good time. Grizzlies Sixers, they will close out Salt Lake City Summer League tonight. Pete Franica, Rob Fisher, Gary Parrish, CJ Hurt in studio. I will be at the Huntsman Center on the University of Utah campus. Grizzlies will take on the Sixers. We'll see if VJ Edgecombe plays. He sat out for the Sixers last night with an injury, but he had a really good game one in their game against the Jazz. He had 28 points in that first game. So an opportunity to see him, opportunity to see perhaps some of these other Grizzlies players fighting for roster spots, fighting for opportunities. We will have the pregame show starting for you at 5:45. And here on the show, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Bye.